Hey guys, welcome to Coffee Combos. Lindsay, I got a really cute message. Well, not cute, but I got a good message on Instagram last night, so I want to read it to you.
Let me hear it.
Okay, so this is from Madison.canup. Hey ladies, love the both of your shows and listening to the podcast. It's the only thing I listen to when I'm in the car. I've heard Kail talk about Lauren sometimes, and I've wondered about what are some things that you see are okay for a stepmom to do with your child. I've been with my boyfriend for over a year, and he has a 4-year-old daughter of his own that I love like my own. There are so many things I would like to do with her, such as taking her to dance classes, school, and just little things like that. I'm very open with her mom about some of the things I want to do with her, but I'm always scared that I'm going to overstep boundaries. What are some things that you would be okay for your boy's stepmom doing, and what are some things that you would not be okay with? So I told her that we would read this on the podcast today.
Okay, well, first of all, the fact that she would even seek a mother's advice that is in the situation speaks volumes about her character,
yes,
because that means that she's respectful. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of moms, or a lot of like stepmoms or girlfriends or whatever, I think probably go into the situation and they just assume that, you know, they can kind of take the place.
And I think that it's a weird place to probably be in for everybody. And I don't think that the stepmom ever thinks like, okay, yeah, they're trying to be helpful and be there for the child, but you do kind of have to consider the mom's feelings, and you have to consider, you know, what that looks like in the bigger picture. I think right away when I was younger with Isaac's stepmom, I mean, V came in pretty early and I was in a different place, so I probably didn't want her doing any of the firsts with him. Mm-hmm. Like anything that was going to be his first time doing something, I really didn't want her to be a part of. One, because they hadn't been together long, and
you were
two,
fearful that like it might not work out, and then he would have these memories with somebody that wasn't going to.
Yeah, and I mean, we were young. I was 18, so it was really hard. I think the same thing now, like if Chris were to be with somebody else and do a first with Lux, I mean, even at 27, I feel like I would be pretty hurt.
Right. Yeah.
Depending, like for a first haircut, like absolutely not. Do not even think about taking him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even now, but I mean, if you talk to if V came to me or Lauren came to me, which she never has, and said, "Hey, Kail, like I really want to sign Lincoln up for whatever," I'd be like, "Okay, cool." Like
this is
I'll
take
him
like
on my
weeks.
weeks.
Thing for
yeah,
us,
you take the kids on your week, and I'll take the kids on my week. And when I see you. But like now that Lincoln and Isaac are older, I can't really think of anything that I wouldn't want them to do. Can you?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, you've let Isaac go to Disney World with Javi and Lauren, right?
No,
or was Lauren not there? Was she there?
Lauren wasn't there. It was Brianna.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I had already also taken Isaac and Lincoln to Disney.
Right. So it was like not the brand new thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like.
I know from my perspective, like whenever Will and I went through marriage problems and, filed for divorce, but, then reconciled, I know that like one of my biggest hang-ups was that.
You didn't want someone else.
I felt like I wanted to make it work for us, but I also wanted to make it work for Jackson because I didn't want somebody else. Like the thought like consumed me of knowing that
somebody else would eventually be
like making his lunch or like taking him to school,
right?
Or like maybe soccer practice. Or
I guess for the situation with V, I feel like it's like a third parent, and so like I know you're gonna love him
like a bonus parent.
Yes, but I know that V would never. She doesn't overstep. Like V does not ever. I don't even know how to explain this. Like she doesn't. I can't think of a time that she like overstepped and was like, I was like, wow, I'm really uncomfortable that she's
doing that.
Yeah. If they called her and wanted her to chaperone for a field trip, I'd be fine with it. If they called her because he's sick and I can't be there to go pick him up at school, I would be fine with it. I don't know. And I eventually would want to be there, I think, with Lauren. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think, like, I mean, they're in Disney. They're in Disney together now, and it doesn't bother me.
I think just the way that it started, though, like with the whole situation, I think that that's probably why you're less comfortable with her. But I think it can get there. I'm
trying to think, like, especially for Lux, right? Like, he just turned 2 on Monday. If Chris were to be with somebody else, because he's so young, he still has a lot of first
He's
to
like
do.
more needy too. Like
yes, I would be, I think, very uncomfortable if like this girl, if Chris is with a girl, co-sleeping with him. Like that would be a no for me.
Yeah, no.
Like you're not going to put my son to sleep. Like that's just not happening.
No, that's not a thing.
But like going to the zoo and stuff, if Chris and his girlfriend were wanting to, I don't know. Like I guess that's such a hard question because it really depends on the situation.
So I hope, what was her name?
Her name was Madison.
Madison, I hope that helps. It was just like a bunch of rambling about our opinions that probably don't even matter.
Well, she said in there that like she wants to sign the daughter up for dance classes. Well, is that something that you guys can all like take turns going to? So like you still get to bond with the daughter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the mom can also participate if she chooses to. So she's not left out.
Madison, follow up with us and let us know the answer to that because I think that would maybe change like
perspective a little bit.
Yeah,
I agree.
So anyway, on to a different note, we have a very special guest. I found out about this guest when I was sitting in church one day. My pastor was talking about a family that we should pray for. And at the time, I don't know if they showed a picture, but I don't remember them showing a picture of her family. I just remember like imagining what they looked like. I couldn't like,
because when you tell a story, you always try to.
They must have not have shown a picture because I remember like leaving church and saying to Will like, well, I wonder what they look like and if I've ever seen them before.
Right. Or like if you've crossed paths or anything.
Yeah. And so it stayed on my mind for an extended period of time because I couldn't even wrap my head around the story. And it was just basically like a prayer request to the congregation of the church for this family. So today we have Brittany Price Brooker on the podcast, and I am so excited for her to be able to share her story with you guys because it's truly an amazing story from just what I know and have seen, but haven't heard it directly from you. So welcome.
Cry.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, girl. It's such a blessing to be here. Yeah, so a little bit of my background is I was kind of the girl that was like, man, I'm not going to date around. Like, I'm going to wait for this amazing guy to come in my life. And, you know, everyone makes fun of you like, yeah, sure, you're going to find this guy. But I was like, listen, he is out there. And
wishful thinking. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And so the Lord brought this like amazing man into my life. He was 6'5", you know, tall, dark, handsome, like all the things. So funny, so much fun to be around. And so we fell in love very quickly and decided to get married. And so
how old were you?
I was 21 and he was 26. And we got pregnant like 6 months after we were married.
Oh, wow.
I know,
Doesn't
crazy.
it sound like my story?
I know,
This
right?
sounds like a fairy tale. So summer is here, but there's still some time to get yourself beach ready by letting the workouts come to you. Getting fit and staying healthy has never been easier than with Open Fit. Open Fit takes the complexity out of losing weight and getting fit. It's a brand new, super simple streaming service that allows you to work out from the comfort of your own living room in as little as 10 minutes each day.
I actually love Open Fit. I have tried Extend Bar and Yoga 52. And didn't you say that you did like the Tough Mudder thing or something like that? Workout with amazing trainers like Andrea Rogers, founder of the worldwide sensation Extend Bar, which I just said, or the newest workout, Rough Around the Edges, with 6 of the most badass stunt women in the business. Do you want to lose weight and keep it off? Lose up to 15 pounds in the first 30 days the right way.
Open Fit has changed the way we work out, and texting our code COFFEE to 303030, you can join me on a fitness journey personalized just for you. Right now, during the Open Fit 30-day challenge, our listeners get a special extended 30-day free trial membership to Open Fit when you text COFFEE to 303030. You'll get full access to Open Fit, all the workouts and nutrition information totally free. Again, just text COFFEE to 303030. Standard message and data rates may apply.
So we had 3 boys back to back. Yeah,
You get me.
Yes.
Were you trying for the girl?
No, I wanted mostly boys.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't find out, so I didn't care what I got. It was like healthy, whatever.
healthy baby.
Yeah.
And I grew up with all boys, so I love boys. Like, it's so fun. And to me, I was like, man, we wanted like 6 kids. So I was like, eventually we'll have
get
a
a
girl.
girl.
Like, who cares, you know? And every time he found out we were having a boy, he was like, yes, another wedding I don't have to pay for.
Yes.
So we were like, I say live in the dream, but that may not be other people's dream. But for me, like, I'd always dreamed about being a wife and a mom, and I was just madly in love with my husband. And, life kind of felt like whack-a-mole, which I know you guys get this with young kids, but you put one down for nap, the next one pops up, and then you get the next one down. And it was just crazy, not sleeping, all the time. But I would text him often and just tell him, like, I get to live the dream, and I'm so thankful I get to do this with you. And so in the fall of 2015, we had 3 kids under the age of 3. I had a little newborn and a 1.5-year-old and almost 3-year-old. And so it had been like a long night where we weren't sleeping. And so, as you can imagine, we were exhausted when we woke up. And my husband was like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and go to work. And in that moment, I remember being like, I was in pain from having childbirth, and I was like, man, I was up with the kids all night last night. Like, I need to tell him, hey, I need some help during the night.
Yeah. I know they use that work card, right? Like,
I know, right?
I got that 9 to 5.
And I almost said that. And then I felt like God told me, Brittany, don't say that. And, I don't know about you, but like sometimes you argue with that. Like, listen, this is legit. Okay. I'm in pain. I really need help. But I didn't say that. And instead I was like, babe, you look so hot in that suit. And I hope you have the best day at work. I love you.
Oh, you're literally an angel.
Right.
So, no, the Lord was gracious. I'm not.
So
hey,
hot,
I'm Brittany and I struggle. Okay, y'all? For real. So he went to work and I said goodbye to him, give him a kiss. And he went to work and I got my little people together to go to Bible study. And I dropped them off. And I don't know about you guys. If you drop your kids off anywhere like that, they lose their mind. It sounds like a murder scene. Well, that's kind of typical of my life, right? And so they went in without melting down. And I just felt like, we should do the victory dance right now. I mean, this first time ever.
Yes.
So I get there and we're going around like talking about different things, and I'm nursing my little newborn and the phone rings, and the first time I answered, I was like, I'm not answering it. And then the second time I just felt like something in me, like, okay, there's something wrong. Patrick. And so I answered the phone call, and it was his boss on the other line, and he said, hey, Patrick fell at work. Has he been sick lately? And I'm like, no, he's a perfectly healthy 30-year-old man. Like, I just saw him a couple hours ago. And he said, okay, well, I'll tell you what. He's headed to the hospital right now. We're going to send a vehicle to come get you, because he was in law enforcement. And they were like, we can get you there a lot faster than you driving, because we can put the lights on. And so I thought, okay, like, that's totally normal. So I got my kids' childcare figured out, and I waited in the rain for what felt like literally hours, but it was literally 1 hour that I waited in the rain for this vehicle to come get me. And it was raining really crazy that day, and so several vehicles had come to get me and had gotten car accidents or gone to the wrong place, and it just felt like everything was making it where I was not able to get to my man. And I just remember like saying there, like, get me to my man. Like, I know right now he is making all the nurses crack up with his jokes and being sarcastic as all get out. And I like grab like food bars and water and like, okay, we're going to go and it's going to be great. Everything's fine. He's probably just tired. And so in that moment, we got in the vehicle with all the law enforcement people that were there, and I just remember them looking at me and saying, like, Brittany, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's okay, like, we can trust God. I don't know what's going on, but we can. And I felt like this crazy peace come over me, and I just kept thinking of the scripture verse, that peace that passes all understanding will guard your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus. And so we went, and it was another hour to get there. And I remember,
like, at this point, you don't nothing. They're not telling you anything.
Yeah, they wouldn't tell me anything. Think that they said, like, he fell. You're just kind of like, okay, what's going on? I don't really know. Right. And I didn't even text people like pray, he's in the hospital. I just kind of didn't know anything. And then I remember on the way, I think I put something on like Facebook or something like, pray, Patrick fell at work or something like that. And so we get there, and it was just one of those moments where you knew you need to remember every detail of this. And so I remember really odd things that I wouldn't have normally like picked up in my observation, but like how
your
many
senses
puddles,
were really heightened.
They were so heightened. And I just remember just running as fast as I could into that hospital, not even knowing where I was going, but I was booking it to get in there with my boots and like in the puddles. And the security was waiting for me. It's like they knew I was coming, and they sent me right in, and they brought me to a hallway full of people. I saw written all over their faces, and I knew it was coming. And they pulled back the curtain, and they sat me down, and they said, I'm so sorry, but Patrick died. His heart just stopped beating, and we don't know why. And in that moment, I mean, it feels like a TV show. Like, this is not my life right now. There's no way. Like, what is going on? And I just remember saying, the Lord gives and takes away. Blessed be his name. He's so good. And just the peace that surrounded me, but then the utter, like, unbelievable heartbreak that made me feel like, oh my goodness, I'm 25 and I walked in here like a beloved wife, like thinking I'm going to go laugh with my husband and joke about how newborns make you exhausted. And then I'm walking out a widow, and like, we were getting ready to go because, you know, I had a newborn that wasn't feeding on a bottle. And I'm like, what do you do? Like, what in the world?
Like, what's the next step?
Yeah,
you don't
what's
even
the
know.
next step?
Yeah.
You never planned for this to be your life. And I remember walking down the hallway, and the lady was like, hey, I've got something for you. And they handed me a bag with his belongings in it, and had his wedding ring and his watch and his phone and his wallet, and that was it. And I thought, like, this is all I have of my husband left? Like, this is crazy. And so got in the car and was just trying to figure out, you know, how do I tell my boys this? The next day was my boy's third birthday.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, God.
And so we had planned all this stuff. Like, I'd already prepped all the food, and I'm just like, how do I communicate this to my kids, you know? And so I came home and I told my kids, and, you know, at that point, they don't really get it. I told him that Daddy died and he was in heaven with Jesus and he wasn't coming back. And then
I think that's the hardest part. I can imagine, like, explaining to a child the permanence of death. Like, they don't.
And they don't get it.
They don't. They don't get it.
And some of it is a beauty of how kids deal with grief, because they can go in and out. Like, they can be laughing, like, hysterically, like, having the best time, and then grief will hit them. Where, like, an adult, whether we're laughing or crying, we always have it running in our mind.
Right.
If you're grieving any type of pain.
Right.
And I just think, like, pain is pain, no matter what you're walking through. And so, you know, there are definitely times where, like, when we moved back to my house, when the garage door went up the first time, they went running and they said, Daddy, Daddy. And I was like, no. Like, how do I explain this? Like, he is not coming back. And that's so hard. But then the beauty of explaining that one day we will see him again, and explaining that to them. And just, you know, my 1.5-year-old had never said mommy before. He's one of those kids, not because he couldn't, because he wouldn't, you know? And so that night he just kept crying for Daddy over and over again. And I just went in there, and it was the first time I was really alone that day. And just was like wrestling with all of it, and just thinking back on every part of my life. And it's really like the highlight of your entire life is running in your head, and you're going, okay, do I have regrets? Like, how was our marriage? How is our parenting? Like, all these things. And I'm just really thankful that I really didn't have regrets. Like, we had a good marriage, not because I'm perfect and not because he was perfect, but because when we messed up, we made it right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because everyone messes up, and we did just as much as anybody else. So that was like the beginning of my journey. And, you know, raising 3 boys by myself when you just never imagined being a single mom.
Sure.
And also walking through the grief of it. And there's no breaks, and there's no, like, and just explaining, like, they'll never know the daddy that grew them, you know? And that was so crazy. But God was just so faithful in the process.
It's literally heartbreaking. Did you know that Pastor Johnny had sent a prayer request for you guys? Like,
I was literally the last person that found out he died.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy to me. And at first, it kind of, like, made me mad of, like, I'm the wife, and I'm the last person to find out.
Everything, yeah.
But really, the grace of God was thousands of people were praying for me before I even knew.
I was praying for you, and I didn't even know you.
Which is amazing.
It's hard to explain it, but, like, when he was, I mean, he didn't give, like, y'all's personal information, but just, you know, like, that y'all were members of the church, and, you know, to pray for your, you know, basically pray for your journey of what you're going through, and the different phases of grief, I guess. And I just kept thinking, like, I don't know why it was important, but I was like, what does this family look like? Like, I was so interested to know like, like, who y'all were.
Because it makes the story more real. It's not just a story, it's a life.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a face behind that. And we truly felt those prayers. Like, I felt like I should be drowning, and yet I wasn't. And I always say, like, I just felt like God was just carrying me with his grace in a way that, like, I should be sinking right now, and I'm not, and I don't understand this. It's not because of me. It's not like there was so many people that were loving us through that whole journey, people that didn't even know me. And I think that challenged me so much now of like, I don't care if I know this person or not, like I'm going to reach out to them.
Yeah.
And if I feel that nudge that I should do something for me, like, I don't care what you think about me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do that because I was on the receiving end when strangers did something for me, and it would like show up on my doorstep, and it would be exact moment where I needed it. And it like gave me enough encouragement to make it through the day, you know? And I want to be that in other people's lives too.
Yeah. So let's talk about traveling for a second, because you know Lindsay and I are always traveling. Away knows that everyone has a different travel style, and that's why Away makes their carry-on in 2 sizes, 2 materials, and tons of colors.
And with a 100-day trial on everything Away makes, you can feel comfortable taking your luggage out on the road and get lost with it. If you decide it's not for you, you can return any non-personalized item for a full refund, no ifs, ands, or buts. I actually have used my little black carry-on for forever. It has the charger in it, and it's like my go-to suitcase. I travel with it everywhere, and Will actually got the little carry-on bag, and he thinks he's so bougie with that thing. He just loves it.
With features like 360-degree spinner wheels, TSA-approved combination locks, and limited lifetime warranty, I couldn't be happier. And they have built-in USB ports so you can charge your device right there in your bag instead of trying to find an outlet at the airport, which is the worst.
For $20 off of a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/coffee and use promo code COFFEE during checkout. Once again, for $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/coffee and use promo code COFFEE during checkout. Well, so you go through all of this, obviously, like it never will go... The pain will never go away, but I guess it changes over time. I know whenever I lost my granddaddy, it's not like losing a husband because that's your life partner, you know, but the grief, like you go through the phases and it feels different at different times.
Right.
And like you go through like the anger and you go through like the sadness and then you go through like feeling like you might be depressed and all of those things. How was it for you that you had to be strong for 3 little boys? Like, did you make sure, and did you have friends that were surrounding you to make sure that you were taking care of yourself too?
Yeah, I think I wasn't strong all the time for my kids because I wanted them to see too. It's okay to cry and it's okay to hurt.
Yeah. Like
and
then,
so
yeah.
that was important because I'm one of these people that I want to learn from others who've walked before me, and not just people that are like a couple years ahead. Like I talked to widows that, you know, were 20 years down the road and they had good, healthy kids. And I said, what do you wish you would have done differently? What are you glad you did? And a lot of them said, I wish I wouldn't have been so strong in front of my kids because then they bottled up their grief. And when they were teenagers, they came out in worse ways. And so for me, it was just showing them that it's going to be okay, but then also crying with them. Mm-hmm. And even today, my son told me, he's like, Mommy, sometimes you cry. And I was like, yeah, why does Mommy cry? And he goes, because you really miss Daddy Patrick sometimes. And it was crazy because he's my baby. He doesn't even remember him. But he said, and sometimes it hurts me because I didn't know him. And like for him to be able to communicate that is so good, to give them the freedom to say, in our home, every emotion is welcomed. And you know what? Sometimes Mommy felt angry about it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes Mommy felt okay with it. And that's okay to feel those feelings. Mm-hmm. Instead of like when they're crying, be like, it's fine. Everything's going to be good. You know, there's a way of literally sitting with them in the brokenness and saying it's okay to be broken right now. And also assuring them that the hope that we're going to be okay and everything's going to be okay. And there's got to be like a balance of that. And so I did have a lot of people in my life and had a lot of counselors. And I think that's important to someone that is not emotionally involved in this situation, that can come from a healthy point of view. Because I think sometimes when you're in the midst of emotions, you can think, oh, this is healthy at that time, but you're so emotionally engaged, you can't detach to look from the outside and be like, actually, no, that's really not right now. And so having someone that you can bring in that says, hey, you know what? I see this going on, and I just want to warn you about that. That might interfere with growth down the line, or might be them stuffing things, or just even learning how do kids grieve. Like, I didn't know this. Like, I am no professional. I mean, like in motherhood in general, there's no handbook on this situation, And so learning and growing and being teachable, and also learning it's okay to be broken.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people struggle with that. I've received messages before from people saying that they don't know how to relate to people who are kind of broken because they've never gone through, something traumatic in their life. And I feel like until you have gone something like, I haven't been through something like that traumatic. Like, my granddaddy was old and lived a good life, so not that it was an expected death, but it's like, he lived a good life. But to go through trauma like that, I feel like you just see life from like a completely different way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you do view it differently. And then you view how, like, helping people, through it, because my thing is pain. You know what I mean? Like, I don't compare my journey to your pain.
Right. No,
and the reality is every single one of us have walked through pain in our lives.
Exactly.
And knowing that, and not being a comparison of people and comparison of pain, but just saying like, hey, we all go through stuff and we're all in this together, and none of us are perfect, and just being okay with that. But entering someone's pain, like when it's awkward, and just being there and saying, I'm so sorry, instead of like trying to fix it, I always say to feel it with them instead of try to fix it.
Right.
But sometimes it hurts so bad to see them hurting so bad that you're like, I just want to fix this. And it's hard just to go in there and feel it with them. But yeah, we tend to want to fix people's pains instead of feel it with them. And I think some people, they just want someone to enter in and be okay with that and be like, I'm so sorry. And just to hear them talk, and just sit with them until they are okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is not fix them, but sit there until they are okay.
That's kind of just like sitting here. I'm almost at a loss for words because I don't know what to say, but I obviously want to like be here for you. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where I feel like sometimes you don't know what to say, but they just don't need you to say anything back. Like, you didn't maybe need people to say anything back. Just listen.
Sometimes you just need like a listening ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes what people say might be like the totally wrong thing to say.
Right.
I'm really bad about that.
Me too.
I don't wanna,
all of us are. I mean,
I don't want to say the wrong thing or offend anyone.
In fact, I actually have a story. There's two people in my life that I was decently close to, like as friends. And I'm really bad about this, but I don't do well with like death because it's so permanent. And I don't do well with like funerals. So I'll, see like on Facebook with these two particular people, and I don't want to call them out, but that lost like a loved one, and I didn't really reach out because I didn't know what to say, not because I didn't want to say something,
because you didn't want to say the wrong thing.
I didn't want to say the wrong thing, and I didn't know like really what to say. So I think from your experience, what would you give people advice like me that doesn't know what to do in situations like that? Because I feel like I'm so awkward when it's something so permanent.
I think what you just said is actually so good about being honest. Like, even writing a card, I don't even know what to say. It hurts me just to think about this. So I just want you to know I love you and I'm here. Like, something simple, or just saying, I'm so sorry for the pain. Like, acknowledging what they're going through and saying that you love them through it. Because I think when people ignore it, it hurts even more. It's like, I remember someone telling me once that they were walking through the grocery store and they saw someone after their loved one died. And the person was like a good friend and went the opposite way because they just didn't want to even see them. And they were like, that hurt worse than them just acting like it didn't even happen, Like,
I know.
Because they were like, I wasn't even going to bring it up. Like, just be my friend, And I think sometimes we think like, for me, I wanted to hear how my friends were doing. Like, I didn't want to just talk about my pain all the time. I wanted to be like, how are you doing? Because I'm still your friend. Like, I'm still Brittany. And I hate that this happened. But for me, I just, like, would acknowledge the elephant in the room. Like, so that people were like, wow, you just said that nonchalantly. Like, I guess we can just, like, that's okay. And I'm like, this is my life. Like, this is nothing I can hide. This just affects everything in my life. And so that's okay. Like, I still want you to be able to talk about your family and talk about your husbands.
Right. Because like you said, you're not comparing pain. You still have to be the friend that you are, you know?
Yeah, and you want to cheer people on in their lives.
Yeah.
You know, just because I lost my husband, like when I saw people on, you know, social media, like on dates with their husbands, I was like, man, if I could afford to send all my friends a gift card to go on a date, I would, because I'm the biggest fan of enjoying your life, you know? I want them to enjoy it and not take it for granted, you know? And I think so many people, when you go the woe is me and all towards your pain, that it's just really unhealthy, and it creates bitterness and self-pity and just resentment. But when you look at other people and you're like, okay, how can I encourage and find purpose in this? It really helps your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I just want to take a second for us to talk about one of our new and super adorable sponsors. I personally love this because my second child is going to school. He's going to go to kindergarten, and it's just perfect for this age and older. Actually, it's perfect for everyone. But I think a lot of parents struggle with putting their kids in front of like a screen or a tablet instead of finding them something more suitable, like reading a book, especially if your kids don't read yet. But Literati is the subscription book club that makes it easy to find unique and interesting books for your kids. So you don't have to guess, search, or read the same books over and over. Each month, you simply buy any books in the box that you want, and you can return the rest. So the other week, we had 3 Literati boxes delivered for my boys. They're all filled with super cute and interesting educational books. And I thought it was super cute. And actually, my kids got really excited about it, which is awesome. It was just a super positive and fun experience to see them all get into the books and like be excited about it. And there's like these little notes, and the kids love them. So anyway, this is a really cute company. And for a limited time, you can go to literatibooks.com and use promo code COFFEE for $20 off your first box. Plus, kids 3 and up get a special blacklight pen, which Lincoln is obsessed with. He actually wrote on me, but don't tell anyone that. And then he used the light to like show it. But this is the best offer available anywhere. So get to it. You have to go to literatibooks.com and use promo code COFFEE for $20 off your first box, plus the free blacklight pen for kids 3 and up. That's literatibooks.com, promo code COFFEE.
Well, back on the point that you were talking about having kind of like a person that was removed from the situation that wouldn't have like a vested interest or whatever. I dealt with that going through like marriage issues. I felt like it was good to have a person that like wasn't what you would call like a fan of Will or a fan of me.
Yeah.
You know, it was somebody that could literally shoot us straight and be like, this is where you're wrong and this is where you're wrong. You know, like this is where you need to see things from, and you need to apologize probably, you know? So I'm definitely an advocate for having somebody that's a third party that just does not have a vested interest on either side.
Me
or
too.
Whatever.
And I need all the help I can get, you know? So I'm like, I will take any help.
Don't we all?
Thank you.
Like,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. So tell us, fast forward, how long were you a single mom before you met your now precious husband? He's so cute.
Thank you. He is amazing. So, so that's a crazy part of my story that I never thought would ever happen. I mean, I literally
I'm so interested.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
It's so crazy. So I used to look at every guy and be like, you are so ugly compared to Patrick. Like, I could not even like wrap my mind around that. I mean, I just couldn't. Like, it was just so crazy. And then I have 3 kids, you know? Like, it's not just about me,
like,
you know? Like,
it's about the kids too.
It's about the kids. It's just so different. And so it had been a year and a half of walking that journey and walking through counseling. And I remember my counselor at one time saying, like, you're in a good, healthy spot right now. That doesn't mean, you know, I still wasn't crying about Patrick and still wasn't hurting, but I just decided, like, listen, I'm going to be the best stinking widow I can be, because that's what I am. Okay. So like, I'm sick of trying to fight this. Like, this is my journey and I want to love my kids well. And we want to do this journey. Like, we only get life one time. So let's do this thing. Which took me a long time to get there. But when I got there, I was like, let's do this. And in the process of like sharing our story, and God was just bringing like all these people had walked through pain into my life. And so I was trying to encourage this family that was walking through death, and this widower was encouraging this same family. His wife had died of cancer a month before my husband, and they had 2 kids they had adopted. And this is crazy. I don't know if I've ever shared this before, but
I have the chills. Like, my hair is standing straight up.
So the night my husband died, or the day my husband died, my now husband Daniel wrote this post on Facebook that went viral about how he feels closest with his wife that died when he's like worshiping God, because that's what she's doing in heaven. And so all these people kept like reposting it, blah, blah, blah. So days later, I get this message, and, you know, I'm not even thinking that way. So I never thought of it that way. I just read the post like, oh, that's encouraging, blah, blah, blah. But it's crazy that he wrote that on the same day that his like later, you know, wife lost her husband. So that's like a crazy journey. But yeah, so we were helping this family, and so we got to know each other. After like the 118th email, he was like, "Can I call you?" And I'm like, "What is my life? What is this? Am I in middle school again? Like, I don't want this. This is so weird." It was so crazy.
Like, do you have a crush on me? Tell me now.
Yeah, tell me now before I tell you yes or no.
Like,
check
what were
yes
those
or no.
Called?
Like the fortune
teller,
cookies,
like
or whatever.
the things that you like do the mash, you know, like
the mash thing.
It's like, does he like me?
Right.
Yeah.
Check yes or no and send it back on an email. So so anyways, we talked on the phone, and it was for 5 hours, and it felt like 30 minutes. I mean, this guy just got my life, got that I was always going to be in love with Patrick, yet I had such a heart for eternity and living for things that mattered. Because when you walk through death, you live life so differently.
Right.
And for someone to get that and get like your desire to not waste this pain and to use it for God's glory and for a purpose that's greater than us, you know, that's just such a rare thing. And so God started writing this crazy love story, and so and then we got married, and we had.
Did you
go on a date with him?
I know, right? Yes. Okay. So at the time, I know details. Yeah. So at the time, my schedule was really crazy, so I couldn't even meet him for like a month. So we talked on the phone every night. I know, right?
Well, I do it by choice, though. I'm like,
You're like,
I don't want to go on a date with you. I just want to talk.
Yeah, and I think that's good because in a way, like I fell in love with his heart before there was anything physical. Like I never saw him in person, and like I just fell in love with his heart, and that was so good. So that we had that foundation when we met. That's what I was in love with, and so that was amazing. But when I first met him, I was like, I know I'm going to marry this guy, which is so crazy.
Yeah, well, they say when you know, you know.
You do, but I was like, yeah, sure, you know, but. This time it really was that way. And then I was like, so, you know, they had 2 kids. I have 3 kids. So, I mean, that's 5 kids. That's a lot of people. And I'm like, so how would you, you know, did you ever think you're going to have a big family? And he's like, if you're asking if I'm okay with being a father of 5 kids, I would be. And I was like,
okay. Off the bat. Assertive.
Yeah, I mean,
so now you just graduated from a boy to a man.
Exactly. Right. Yes. So he was like so bold in his pursuit of me because he was so confident that God led him there.
Right.
Which I needed because I was so like, what in the world is my life? This is crazy. I don't know. You know, just even it's just hard. It's just hard emotions involved in all of that. But his pursuit and confidence helped so much. And then just hearing from God on it. And so we got married that summer. And so it had been 2 years past when my first husband passed away and his wife when we got married. And so they call us the Brooker Bunch because they're kind of like the Brady Bunch. And so our kids are like really abnormally close in age. So right now they're 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 in their ages. So everyone always is like, you know, when you go to the store. Wedding. I know, exactly. Only one wedding because one girl.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a girl now.
Okay. Okay, see? And you said that from the beginning. You said eventually.
I know. And the cool thing, too, is the night that my first husband passed away, like, I remember waking up in the middle of the night crying and being like, I'll never have a little girl that has Patrick's blue eyes. And Aubrey, my girl, has blue eyes, which is amazing. They all 5 have blue eyes, which is so crazy.
Weird. Yeah. Crazy.
And it's just like the craziest circus. Y'all, I got nothing together in life. I thought I was tired with 3 kids. Y'all, I'm exhausted.
You have no idea.
Okay. So you drive a minivan. Yes.
Oh, yeah, girl.
You do?
I know, but I think we're outgrowing that.
I mean, you can get a Suburban.
You know?
I drive a Suburban with 3 kids. It's great.
I saw here more legroom because these people are, I know, these people are getting taller by the day.
Yes.
They're eating us at house at home. Like, what are we going to do with teenagers?
I wonder the same thing. And the boys, too. I'm like, my house always smells like socks, and they're going to eat me out of a house and home. Yes. Because they eat so much.
Your kids eat so much?
Y'all, it is insane.
I
feel like I have to tell them, like,
things
when I go to the grocery store, when I'm checking out. Like, I feel like I always have to say, oh, by the way, I have 5 kids eating all of this food.
You don't want to be judged by the cashier.
Exactly. And then, like, we have our kids with us, and they're always like, so, how old are your kids? Because they see I'm like, how many sets of twins? And then the question's like, how long have you been married? And then they're like, and then my kids will just like,
it's the judgment,
things.
Really, like, yeah.
I know. And then my kids will just drop things like, I have 2 daddies, I have 2 mommies, I have blah, blah, blah. And
you're like,
hi, yeah, thank you so much for my receipt. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move past this.
I knew that's where that was going. It was like the judgment really set in when they start talking about moms and multiple moms and dads.
And I'm like, hey, that's real life. That's that's real life with everybody. But it's just funny. And then they'll start dropping different things. And I'm like, just keep walking.
Just keep walking. Keep your mouth shut and keep walking. So, guys, if you're like me, you wish someone would just cook dinner for you every night. You know, you're on the go and just have all this stuff to do all day long, and then you have to come home and cook. But I do have good news for you. HelloFresh makes cooking meals delicious at home a reality. Regardless of your comfort in the kitchen, you can break out of your dinner rut like me, just like running out of time. It's getting really close to bedtime. And HelloFresh has 20-plus seasonal chef-curated recipes each week. So you can sign up for this. Personally, my family is loving the sweetest honey chicken right now because it's rice, a vegetable, and then the meat, and it's super good. They do have meals that everyone in your family will agree on, and there's something for everyone. There's family recipes, there's calorie smart and vegetarian recipes, and it just has a fun menu of all the things that your kids will actually eat. You can add extra meals to your weekly order as well as yummy sides like garlic bread and cookie dough. And you can easily change your delivery days, food preferences, or skip a week whenever you want. So that makes it super convenient if you're going away or you have a lot of sports that week and you can't cook. That's just telling you some of my experiences. And for $80 off your first month of HelloFresh, you can go to HelloFresh.com/coffeecombos80 and enter coffeecombos80. That's basically like receiving 8 meals for free. And once again, that's $80 off your first month of HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/coffeecombos80 and enter coffeecombos80.
Yeah.
Are your kids oversharers?
Some are, and then some you have to kind of pull it out more, you know? Mm-hmm. So it just depends. I think kids are so factual.
Mine tells everything.
Mine tells how many craps he takes a day. Like,
mine will tell everything. How many craps I take a day.
Oh, that's
hilarious.
So, and I'm like, you didn't have to tell him the time I peed my pants on the way home from the airport. Like, you didn't have to do that.
Man.
Yeah.
They're so factual about it.
Oh,
like, there's no emotions. It's
all
just
details.
like, this happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why did we have to share that in this setting right now?
I don't know when my oldest is about to say something and I'm looking at him and I'm like,
it's like that look.
And then he's like, oh, you don't want me to share it now? I'm definitely sharing it.
Yeah, exactly.
My friend did that the other day. He looked at me and he was about to say something and I looked at him and he did this eye thing and he did the eye thing back and I was like, yes, he got it.
Yeah.
Like, he's 6, but that felt
amazing.
like a teenager moment.
Yes.
And like, we made it.
So I stalk and I find you somehow like on my Explore page on Instagram, like weirdly.
Well, because you follow her, so now
No.
she's going to be on.
I wasn't following her yet, though.
Oh.
So I somehow, like, find you after, like, hearing about this a long time ago on Instagram. And I'm like, wait, I think this is the girl. So, like, I start, like, Insta-stalking you. And I'm like, oh, wow, like, you're in your profile, it's like you know, you've married a widow, you're a widow. And then I see that you guys are doing, like, I still keep stalking you, and I see that you guys are doing home renovations. So did you guys move? Like,
We
did
did.
you?
So
tell us about, like, the journey of moving. Did you move out of your home that you had with Patrick, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So y'all, we were in a
How
1,000
hard
square
was
foot
that?
house.
With 1,000 square foot?
1,000 square foot house with 7 people. So we just need to leave it right there.
So you really love each other.
Okay, so nice and cozy. We were grateful, but it was a little cozy. So, like in their rooms, you couldn't even play in their rooms. You could just walk in because there's just beds, you know. So we were just kind of in the journey, and you hear this from a lot of counselors that when kids have a lot of change, to be very careful with that. And so, especially my husband, now his kids had walked through a lot of change. And so they lived with different family and really lived several different places in the last couple years. And so our goal was healthy family. Like, we didn't care about the space. We didn't care about what was going on or all these details. We just want healthy kids. And that was our goal. And so we were like, who cares about the house? Let's work on the kids. And so we did that. And then we felt like, okay, Lord, you're kind of stirring our hearts that they're okay and they would be stable enough if we moved right now. So that was definitely a journey and definitely emotional.
Right.
Because I'm like, that's the longest I've ever lived anywhere. So I was there for 8 years. That's like where all my husbands, I feel so weird. All my husbands brought me home like after we got married, and I brought all my babies home. And so many emotions, but also knowing, you know what, we're building a new season and that's okay to build. And we want to build this foundation. And so we bought this house, and it has more space. Hallelujah. And it needed some work. And so this summer, like a crazy person, I was doing a renovation project with all 5 kids, and I was like the general contractor. So every paint can, every caulk, 2x4s, I was there with 5 kids at home improvement stores. And I'm like, hey,
you're
we're
such
back
a good
again.
woman.
It was
I
crazy.
can never. But that's probably nice to keep you like your mind off of other things and just kind of
crazy.
like something to look forward to, you know?
So what all did you guys renovate?
So,
did you guys like buy a fixer-upper? Like,
it was not, I mean, you know, you want to make anything your own. And the people that lived there before, like the sweetest people ever. And they had 2 kids, and we have 5 kids. So, you know, we just had to make it more
like yours.
Like ours, yeah. So we took down some walls and switched around kitchen things and changed out flooring things, and, you know, went through, I think, 50 gallons of paint, which is so crazy.
I just bought 30 for my new house. And
Get
I'm
it,
like,
girl.
Oh, I can't. I don't even want to see another can of paint for as long as I live. Like,
the paint options, good.
Well,
I'm
and
like,
then
how
that's
many
a whole
colors
other
of white
thing.
do we
It's
have?
like, why do we have 6 shades of gray? Like,
I know.
we only need one.
I know. Girl, I'm with you on that. So it was crazy, but I would not ever recommend that. It was definitely more stressful. Took me out.
We just talked about renovations on our last podcast. Like, I'm not doing it myself because I'm probably not going to do a good job. And 2, it's just...
We were talking about how, like,
it.
you see, like, all this Pinterest stuff or, like, people posting these photos of things
DIY.
that, like, DIY projects that look, like, really super nice.
Yeah.
And
On
then
Instagram.
But then you, like, see them
up close, and you're like, yikes.
Ooh, that's, like, really crooked.
Yeah,
That's really do it yourself right there. Okay.
That's really DIY. So,
Exactly.
Did you have any experiences
Oh,
like
we
that?
had all kinds of, y'all, we had crazy stuff going on. Like, for instance, the garage floor epoxy, the person didn't put the hardener in. It was like gum. So then, like, literally, like, gum lost my shoe in it. Type gum. A lizard crawled in there and died because it couldn't get out. I'm not even joking. So it became this whole like fiasco, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how are we doing it? So we call the company, and they're like, we have to scrape it all off by hand.
No.
I'm like, you don't understand my life. I have 5 kids. When am I going to scrape off every bit of paint off the floor? Like, I can't do this. And I'm like, we got to figure out a different way, babe. So we were like trying all this stuff. We figured it out. It's fine. We're all still alive. But you know, you have all kinds of things like that. Except for the lizard. I know.
Yeah, bless
They were
his
like,
heart.
they call him Black Eye because he had this black dot that looked like an eye. I'm like, okay,
and
y'all,
your
we don't
kids
have to
saw it?
name this.
Oh, gosh.
This makes it even sadder, buddy. You got this.
It was special to them.
It was
special to them.
special. I know.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so it was fun, and it's just fun. It feels like really freeing to be there, and it's just no memories. It's all fresh. It's all us. And it's just like feels the space has been so amazing, and so we're just so grateful. It's been fun.
Have you ever wanted to try all of those luxurious brand name fragrances without having to max out your credit cards? With Scentbird, I found a way to have great taste and mix up my fragrance routine without breaking the bank.
Scentbird is a subscription perfume service that lets you try new smells without the commitment. I love it because each of the scents are super sleek and you can travel with them, and then I can mix them up. If I find one that I really love, I'll buy the full-size bottle, but if not, I can just keep trying new ones until I find one that I love.
And to be perfectly honest, the reason that I love it is because I get tired of scents really quickly. So by the time I get finished with it, I'm like, okay, wow, I get to try something new and I get to smell different and fresh. With more than 450 designer brands, you can choose from a variety of amazing scents. I love the fact that I receive a 30-day supply, and if I'm not sure what scent is right for me or if I want to try something new, I can sort by brand, style, occasion, or season.
And with an exclusive offer just for our listeners, you can get 50% off your first month today. That's only $7.50 for your first fragrance. Just go to scentbird.com/combos and use our code COMBOS for 50% off your first month. Again, that's scentbird.com/combos for you to try your first perfume or cologne for just $7.50. Sign on, smell amazing.
So is it like all together and like you're like in a comfortable space right now? Because
you feel
neither
like
of
you-
us are in comfortable spaces in our home right
No,
now.
at all. So
I
are you
mean-
still having more projects to do,
Oh, yeah.
or you're done for a while?
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, the bathroom on the main level doesn't work at all. We have a leak somewhere else. The disposal doesn't work. We have no backsplash.
So you got lots of... Sometimes I wonder why I even bought a house. Like, should I have just rented? Because then I'm not responsible for anything and it gets fixed pretty quickly.
You know what I think about all the time? I'm like, if I lived in an apartment and I switched it every 2 years, I would never have to do anything.
I know.
Well, first of all, why would you want to switch every 2 years? Because moving has been hell for me.
Oh, moving is
I'm
so
in the process right now.
Because, like, everything's new, you know?
Closed on my new house last week, and I moved I packed up my kitchen. My kitchen's at the new house now, but also the kitchen's getting remodeled in the next month. But I'm going to finish
every day,
moving.
girl.
But I got to finish moving tomorrow and Saturday, but it's like, I just can't. I don't want to do this. I changed my mind halfway through. I don't want to do this. I already bought the house. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Where do you even start?
And when you pick things, you're like, okay, we have to keep this for a couple years. You know what I mean? Whatever you pick. So I want to love it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. The backsplash is not up. I told my husband, I'm like, I don't care if we have it plain like that for a couple months, unless I love something, because I'm going to be looking at it every day.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to pick something I don't really love.
Right.
So, but we didn't have a working kitchen for 2 weeks. That was a little struggle bus. But we ate on the floor and you just make memories, you know? Just make memories in the middle. I like my son hugged me the other day and he was like, "Oh, Mom, you smell like the new house." And I was like, "Was that good?" And he's like, "It smells like sawdust." I was like, "Oh, wow." How do you know you're renovating? By that.
Oh, wow. That's so funny.
Amazing.
That is so funny. So are all your kids in school or preschool or no?
We do all kinds of different things with all
the
of it.
van's going everywhere.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So 4 is the youngest.
Yes. So we're
preschool.
all different places.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like we do every schooling option, but they're with me they're with me a lot of the time. So yeah. We do like
hybrid.
Just a combination of everything.
Got it. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, I mean,
Although
so you may have one kid in public school, one kid in private school, one kid at home, you know, then there's hybrid options. I feel like we're like the family that mixes it all together.
Which is awesome because then they get the experience of all. I don't think that I'm a good candidate to be a homeschool teacher, but I'm definitely not against homeschooling.
Yeah.
And I think every kid is different. So,
They
like, for
are,
us,
so you
every
just
year,
never know.
we're just going to lay before God and be like, hey, what's best for this kid? And then what's best for the overall, like, healthiness of our family? And my husband's always like, I'm like, I can do this and I can do that. And he's like, the problem is you would give your left arm to do that, but we need your left arm to be a healthy family. So we're going to have to
keep
rein that in. Keep the arm and keep healthy. I'm like, okay, that really helps me.
That's, I don't know, maybe I just didn't know because I wasn't a mom, or maybe it's like new. I feel like all the options for schooling, when I was growing up in Pennsylvania, you had to go to the school that you were districted to. So whatever house you're...
Yeah, that's how it works here.
Or if you went to private school, or you could be homeschooled, and there was very, very, very few homeschooled people. But now, I live in Delaware, and I've been there for about 5 years. You can go to any school. So, like, if you live, like,
amazing.
My new house is about 30 minutes north of where I live, like, my current house is.
Yeah.
But any school that I want my kids to go to, I just have to enroll them.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
I'm like, we don't. No, we pay certain
So,
taxes so our kids go to a certain
right,
school.
and that's how it was in Pennsylvania. But here it's like, if your kid is needing to be in AP academic classes, you send them to this school because that's what's good at that school.
That's so nice.
There's another school that's like a little bit south of where I'm at now that's like really good for sports and like recruiting for college, like for sports. You want to send your kid to that school. There's like different options, and I feel like
so good.
I had this friend a couple years ago. She has 8 children, and all of her
girl.
kids, literally all of her kids went somewhere different. Because she's like,
nuts.
I'm catering to what is good for them. And I think that's what you just said.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I think
and
it's great.
going to change. Like, we are not one of these people, like, this is what we do for life. You know, we're like, no, we want to be the people that I'm like, we want to be teachable. And every year, like, be open to what is healthy for our kids, what's healthy for our family. And you have to go to the overall, because you can get to the point where you're running all over the place that you never have any family time.
The
or you
van's never
have rest
stopping.
time. Yeah.
No.
And that's a problem. And so, like, we don't do any extracurricular sports. We don't do anything right now.
It's like all family time.
It's all family time.
But
because
maybe it'll change down the road. Right.
It could change next year. But this year we felt like, okay, we're pulling in so we can really pour into our kids because, again, like, they're 5 kids that have walked through a lot of trauma. And so emotionally they're different than, like, maybe your kids are, you know?
No, I agree.
And so we're like, that's what we're doing this year, but it could change next year, you know? And so we just want to be flexible.
Well, so I saw on your Instagram that you just went to, like, one of my favorite places ever. So trendy, Rosemary.
Yes.
What is that?
It's a beach in I'm going to sound like an ignorant person, just like I did on the last podcast.
Just
I
like
think it's
we
in the
do all
Gulf.
the time. It's
Yeah,
fine.
it's 30A. So it's Rosemary, and so it's near Panama City.
Destin,
it's probably that's where we flew into. So it's like 45 minute drive from there. Yeah.
Not
but
the country.
Alice Beach,
Panama City, Florida.
Beach. Yeah. So Alice and like Rosemary and Watercolor are like their own. Like I had never been there, so I don't even know.
I still don't even know what y'all are talking about. Is this in
it's
Florida?
so trendy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I was like, what is my life? This is crazy. It's beautiful.
It's the best life ever. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
So I don't really know like what the backstory is of what you were doing there, but I saw your pictures with like all the cute ladies, and y'all looked super happy. So was it like a widow's thing?
So it's a young widows retreat, which y'all are gonna laugh. Like, who wants to go to a young widows
No,
retreat?
but that's actually amazing for the support.
Yeah, because you have all of these amazing ladies that are in their 30s that have young kids, and they're like, I don't feel like a widow, and I don't, they don't acknowledge that they're like widows with 80-year-olds, who are all talking about pacemakers when they're like, okay, I'm just trying to raise my kids. Like, you already raised your kids. Like, I would give anything to have my husband for 60 years like you had him. Like, your grief is the same, but it's so different.
Right.
And so these ladies, so I worked with 3 other ladies who had lost their husbands at a young age. And so there's 4 of us that got to host it. And so they flew in all from around the nation, from Canada, California, all over to come and just be encouraged and poured into hope that they're going to make it.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're in hard seasons, sometimes you're like, I'm not going to make it, or you hear about someone, but actually be face to face with people that have made it. They're like, you know what? My kids are going to be okay. Yeah. And sometimes you just need to say that face to face. Your kids are going to be okay. You're doing a great job. You're doing the best you can,
Have you, in doing all of this, have you met someone who has also met someone that's a widower, or no? Is that
yes?
You have,
yes, which is
So
crazy.
this is common, maybe.
I don't think it's the most common, probably.
Okay, but it happens more often than you probably would have
And
thought.
I'm always like, hey, do you have a second? I got some questions for you.
Yeah,
How do you do this?
Isn't that crazy?
So, and just the stories are insane. Like, the stories I hear from widows and that message me on Instagram, I'm just like, I can't. Crazy things where someone's walking and a branch fell on them, or their husband got a bee sting at 30 and didn't know that they were allergic
to bees.
and they died.
Like,
just crazy things. Or
that gave me the
just,
chills.
the hardship these ladies walk through, and you would see them and be like, this is the cutest girl ever, like, that has her life put together.
Pain that she's
and
going
you have
through.
no idea what's really going on. And so that's the crazy thing that I think I've walked through now, is like, I don't look at people the same.
Right.
Like, I look at everyone, I'm like, they've got stories. They are people. I don't care what you do, what you're made of, or what you act out. Like, people are people, and everyone's going through something. And so it's crazy when you hear these stories about these ladies, and I'm like, you look just like us, and just like us, and they're walking through so much more pain, that you're just like, this is insane.
So how did you get involved in doing that? Like, is that what you're doing? Like, is that like are you taking your passion for helping people, and that's like your path right now? Like, you're doing these retreats, or is this like the first time you've ever done it? Are you planning on doing it again? Like, is it?
Yeah. So this is the second one we've done, and we're doing another one in Nashville coming up soon. But what I do is more of, I speak a lot. I go different places and speak, or do different podcasts, or different, just a lot of unseen work, which is what I love, is messaging or talking to people on the phone, like widows that nobody would ever know I'm doing. And to me, that's like
the
a
best
beauty.
work, right?
Yes, because that's the real people. And sometimes you just didn't know that. Like, one time, this lady, and I don't ever give out my number. Like, I don't do that. You probably are like that too. But this girl messaged me late at night, and her husband had just passed away. And I felt like the Lord said, you're supposed to give her your number, which I'm like, I never do that. Like, why are you telling me this? And I talked to this lady, and her husband died hours before. She said, I just need to know, are we going to make it? And that's it. She just wanted to hear my voice. You're going to make it. And then she just ended up being the most precious, dear friend. And she's just amazing. But I do think a lot of the work that we do, and a lot of your purpose in the midst of your pain and perspective, come by helping other people and knowing that there's hope even in the darkest places of life. Because there's so many moments in all of our lives when we walk through pain where you cry in the middle of the night and you think, nobody knows I'm going through this, and it's really dark, and nobody talks about that. Nobody wants to enter there. But knowing that even in the darkest places, that there's still hope and there's still a reason to breathe, is what moves us beyond our pain to our purpose, and saying the perspective is our life is not over. God is not finished with us yet. He's still writing our story, and there's so much joy ahead, and believing that even when it's hard to feel it in the moment.
Yeah. It's a tough place to be in, I feel like.
Yes.
It's incredible that you have been able to share your journey. And I think when we took a break for a second, you were saying that once you share your story over 20 times.
What was it?
It takes the trauma out of it.
Right. Because we're sitting here bawling and you have been so strong.
I'm like, I have to turn away and stop looking at her so I won't cry.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. I'm an avoider of
I've never heard that saying, but I think it makes sense. Because I mean, even like my trauma that I've gone through, which obviously we're not going to compare, but I feel like when I talk about it now, like if someone asks about it, now that makes sense because I don't feel as though I'm not as emotional about it to other people that I was when it first happened.
And you've walked through a journey of healing probably too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think it's like people always are like, time heals. And I'm like, no, actually time doesn't heal because you can talk to people that are 10 years out and they're in the same spot.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, no, time doesn't heal, God heals. Because you can be in a point where 2 years out, you're in a much healthier spot where most people aren't, you know? So you can't put timetables on people and their healing. But yeah, I think the exact
like talking about it and telling your, like, I remember when I wrote my first book, it was once I was able to finally, like, I had talked about it and talked about, you know, things that I've been through, but like once I wrote it down, it felt like there was like a sense of clarity. Yes. Like liberating almost. Okay.
Yes.
Now we can literally close the chapter and just like move on. Have you written any books or anything yet?
No, not yet. No. Yeah. And I think processing things is when you write it out, it helps you process it. And, I say that with friends too. Y'all, I should journal more, but
we were just talking about that.
I probably should be
We
better
tried.
about that.
I've tried.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good idea in theory, but the reality of it is like, I just haven't.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there are times where things are like really pressing and I just kind of feel like it's a burden I have to get out on paper.
Sure.
And that's when I do, but I'm not as consistent as I need to be.
Same.
Yep.
Real life.
Same. I had a question, but I forget what it was. Oh, I know what it was. So, I feel like I want to be like Brittany. I want to be like so good like her. So when I posted the thing about the crystals yesterday, when we went to the crystal shop, I was like, "Oh, Brittany's going to think I'm a witch."
I'd missed the whole thing, so don't you worry about it. I'm busy with kids, so I miss all kinds of things. Like, I was, like, driving here today, and I'm like, I don't know anything about y'all, except for, like, I saw the, email and things,
Yeah.
and then I messaged a little back before. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get to know these two girls here, so I'm like,
we're
hey.
also boy moms, and
which is so fun.
Yeah, and I always joke because we really hardly ever we hardly ever interview anyone that has a daughter.
Yeah. It's weird. Like it's almost
gravitate towards the boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so, and we don't plan it that way, but.
So what do you think about crystals, Brittany?
I don't even.
She doesn't
do you know
about
anything
them.
about them at all? Mm-mm. Me neither, but I'm holding one all day.
Yeah, I
Kail's
love
into
the crystal
crystals.
thing.
She's really into crystals.
I don't know.
And
But
manifestation and like stuff.
I don't know. But I do know that I always laugh about the whole boy mom thing because with the
She's like,
oh no, y'all. Because one of my friends has girls and she was like, yeah, I mean, do you ever get to like 3:00 and you're like, man, we forgot to eat today? I'm like, oh no. With
Not
boys,
with boys. Oh no.
Every
They'll
20
never
minutes,
let you
I need
forget.
a snack. I need a snack, Mom. I need a nut. I'm
Jackson's
like,
a snack king.
When we went to Hawaii, and we were in Hawaii for 3 weeks last month, and when we first got there, it was like the time change, the kids. I mean, it was a disaster. So I was like, okay, it's nap time. We're going to take a nap. And when we wake up, we'll get some food. We'll start our day. We'll do these things. My middle son woke up earlier and was like, Mom, can I have a snack? And I'm like, mind you, I'm asleep. We're all still sleeping except for him.
Look, we're not snacking right now.
Listen, when all of us are awake, we're going to get a snack and we will start our day. Okay, well, now I'm finally opening my eyes. We're getting the day started. Mom, you said when you woke up we can have a snack. I'm like, your brothers aren't up yet. Like, it's just me. Like,
my
relax.
eyes just open.
The other brothers wake up.
Buddy.
Mom, did you forget that you said that we could have a snack? And I'm like, literally, I'm going to rip my hair out because I said when everyone gets up, we will go get a snack. Relax. We ate before we lay
They
down.
act like they're starving, right?
I've like sat down my kids before and been like, you have never gone one day without one meal or one snack. Never. Your whole
Never.
life. So do you think I'm going to forget now? I have not forgotten.
Oh
You
my
are going to live through
I'm
this
gonna feed you.
experience.
Yeah.
I tell them that all the time. You will live through this experience. I know it feels like, or I'm like, it's the end of the world as we know it. Like, you're acting like it's the end of the world, and
snack.
you're really going to be fine.
Relax.
Jackson,
Yes.
I was busy doing something the other day, and I was literally like in the midst of cleaning up like dust all over my house, and my hands are like all dusty and stuff. And Jackson comes upstairs from the basement, and he's like, "Mom, I really am starving, and I need a snack." And I'm like, "But you're not getting one right now because I'm doing all of this. I'll fix it as soon as I get finished." He was so dramatic. He was like,
They think
I
that-
guess you just want me to go hungry then. I guess I'll just go downstairs and be really hungry and think about it for a long time.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
goodness.
Okay, exactly.
I know.
I'm
And you're like, how do they learn these things?
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
'cause
we
I don't
had
feel like
to
I
fix
act like
something
that.
because I was like, with 5 kids, y'all, it's just non-ending, you know.
I bet.
So we have a huge, like, if you come to my house, which you're welcome anytime, y'all, but this huge container that has tons of fruit in it, and it has, like, avocados. So anytime they want, they can have anything in that bowl.
But
And that's-
anything
yes.
anything other than that, they're gonna have to wait.
Yes, exactly. But like, I don't care if you want to eat, and like, they love avocados or you know, apples. Like, I don't care if you eat 5 apples in a day.
Right.
Go for it.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
that's totally fine because it's really they just want the other snacky stuff.
Yes.
But that's helped me a lot. Where I'll have like a drawer in a fridge.
That's
like,
such a good
okay,
idea.
this you can have anytime you want, and I'll have like little cashews in there.
Yep.
Or guacamole packets or hummus or whatever. And I'm like, anytime you want a snack, you can get that. But other snacks, you have to ask for.
Yep.
So that's helped a
A little bit. Okay.
So what's been your biggest challenge as a mom, do you think?
Man, it just shows my flaws so much. Don't you feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought I was a good mom until
Until
I was
they-
a mom.
Yeah.
You know, like, or with 5 kids, it's brought out so many different like levels of feeling like you're feeling like you're not enough. And the reality is, guess what? I am feeling, and guess what? I'm not enough, because nobody can be enough for all 5 of those kids. And I have to just say, God, fill in the gaps, because I know I'm not going to do everything perfectly.
No.
And I do not do anything perfectly. But having to come to the realization of I'm not, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
then also
We
being
just talked
teachable.
about this yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just being teachable and having older moms that they're like, you know what? I really wish I would have engaged more with my kids. My kids are teenagers, and I don't have their heart because I did not engage with them when they were younger or laugh with them. And they only knew mom is do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And so learning from them has helped me a lot. But man, so many struggles in motherhood, or even like feeling anger when you get like worked up about things. Like, I have never been an angry person ever. And
Right.
now with
But
5
motherhood
kids,
makes you
woo!
like a lion.
Yeah, about certain things, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that's people don't want to talk about that either. It's like we should be ashamed of feeling that way, but I mean that just really comes with motherhood sometimes.
And teaching your kids that mommy was wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I have conversations with my kids all the time, and I'm like, if there's one thing that I want you to learn about, I want you to learn about Jesus, but I also want you to learn about forgiveness, and that we will mess up, but how to handle situations when mommy messes up. And so I tell them all the time, like, I am so sorry. Mommy did not handle that well. Will you forgive me? I should have never done that, or I've never should have said that. Or, and sometimes they didn't even notice it. It was in my heart that I knew I was like aggravated
Oh, that's
so
the
much.
worst.
Yeah, and they didn't know because I kept my cool, but I still knew in my heart, like, I struggled really
Yeah.
bad towards them. And so it opens up great conversations with them, because even now they'll come to me and be like, Mommy, I'm so sorry that I acted this way towards you. Will you forgive me? And so, you know, creating a community in my home of
Right.
forgiveness and admitting that we're wrong. Like, man, if adults can know and learn that, you know, that you can admit that you're wrong, or being humble enough to say that, or even that in my house, we don't talk bad about people. We don't. So if you are going to come and start talking about bad people, I look at them and say, are you tearing someone down, or are you building them up? Because there's certain things that I want them to learn as kids, so that I am not raising the next generation of people that talk bad about people all the time.
they're
You know,
bullies,
like,
yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh,
want
that's
encouragers, you
Yeah.
know? So, but that is a lot of mommy admitting that I'm wrong, and a lot of talking through it. So yeah, I got nothing
I can
together,
think
y'all.
of one specific thing when you were saying that I have felt guilty before, where it's like your kids are just getting on your nerves. I only have one, but I'm sure you can relate, and you can relate.
Oh, yeah, I totally can relate.
They get on your nerves, and you're like, Monday can't come soon enough
We
because
can
the
go back
school
to
doors
school.
open. You know, and then school opens, and I'm like, oh, I should have never said that. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the carpool
I'm
line and
literally
I'm
just
like,
thinking about the snack thing, and I'm like,
you're still in the snack thing.
yes, because Lincoln will literally climb up on the counter and get to the high cabinet where the snack foods are. But if he has access to apples, maybe he won't do
You gotta
that.
get the little tiny ones that they think are really cute, you know? Where my kids think apricots are brother peaches because they're little baby brother peaches.
So
Which
cute.
is so cute.
Yeah,
so they're
that's
like,
really
did you
cute.
buy brother peaches? And they
That's
think anything
so
cute and little,
yeah.
you know, they gravitate towards.
I'm going to do that.
So Jackson learned how to work scissors, and he hid a pair of scissors in our basement for a long time,
So that
near
he
his
could
playroom,
get-
so that he could go in our pantry
And
and
sneak
get snacks, not tell us, and take them downstairs, and he cuts them open himself. And then we went
that is
downstairs, and over
hilarious.
time, like you might not notice one wrapper, but like over time, like several wrappers like start showing up, right? And you're
That's
like,
a smart kid right
well,
there.
and they're like evenly cut, you know, so it's like clearly like you have taken scissors and cut across them. And we'll ask him, he's like, I don't know about that. I don't know where that happened. And I'm like, okay, so are we lying? Like, what's going on
I mean,
here? Like,
I have to admit, as it's wrong, but also that's very clever.
I know.
They are so smart, y'all. I mean, the stuff these kids come up with, I'm like, what?
Where?
Was I
Like-
ever that smart at your
No,
age?
I don't think so.
I was.
No.
I mean, I remember like hiding stuff under my bed, and it's like obviously someone's going to find it at some point.
Yeah, and like my hair when I cut my bangs off in my trash can, like
I
obviously.
shoved a marble up my nose once.
Oh, girl, that's awful.
And it's just like, why was I?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing instead of plotting on snacks. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I obviously wasn't that intelligent.
I know.
Yeah.
My kids, you know, one kid swallowed a battery, the other one got a vitamin stuck up their nose.
Oh,
and these are
no,
the things
you're like,
nobody
oh.
preps you for.
That's one of my
in your
biggest
head.
fears. Like the things like Will knew somebody that their kid from work, it was like a coworker, their kid swallowed like a penny or a dime or something like that.
But can't that just pass or no?
No, like it made him go to the hospital. Like they had to be in the hospital, and it obstructed like something. So I'm like,
Yikes.
y'all.
so then when you say like a kid
Sorry, Lindsay.
swallowed a battery or something like that, oh no.
I know the things that you just, or the conversations you have with your kids
Yeah.
that you're like, did that just came out of my mouth? I can't believe I said we never blah blah blah.
Put
And then-
vitamins in our
oops.
nose.
Yeah, we never
Yeah.
put vitamins in our notes. We never swallow batteries. Like what? I
Like,
actually
why
just
are we
said
talking
that.
about this?
Yeah.
Like, you're so intelligent, but also, like, you have so much learning to do because the fact that you thought a battery would fit in your nose.
I know.
No,
Or
like,
when we
they
run a
swallowed it.
5K, we don't put cars in our pockets and stop in the middle of the 5K and play with the cars, which really
Like,
just
you're
happened to us.
clearly
going to
get run over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when we run races, we won races. And
Yeah.
when we play with cars, we
play
play
with
with cars.
cars.
Okay.
Kids are nuts. Like,
They keep you laughing. I always say
Yeah.
you gotta laugh or you cry. Like last night, my son was like, "Why are you laughing? This is not funny. This is sad." I was like, "Buddy, you have to laugh or you cry sometimes." He was
Yes.
like, "Good point."
no, I laugh until I cry.
Right, or
Until
that.
I realize that, like, I'm just laughing out of the pure fact of I'm so frustrated that it's like I'm laughing
no.
like silly,
Yep.
and then I start crying, and I'm like, oh,
How are
finally
we
it's
really
come out.
feeling?
Like, how are we really feeling? Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Revealing.
Happens pretty often. Well, can you tell our listeners where they can find you? Do you have like YouTube or like anything like
Yeah,
that?
so Instagram is Brittany Price Brooker, and then I've got YouTube stuff or my website or whatever. But you can
And what's
pretty much
your
find all
website?
that through
Oh,
Instagram.
it's through Instagram.
You know,
Oh, I will say one thing about your Instagram before we go. I had commented on one of Brittany's pictures, and I was like, "Oh, you're so cute," and her husband like was so cute. He went back on there and he was like, "I think so too."
like he's my
He's a
biggest
winner.
fan. He
That's
is such
so
a winner. He
awesome.
is like the best. Like I don't even know how you can be that joyful and that happy all the time. And like he is so fun. Like
Well, that's how we feel about you.
such
Yeah.
a good. Y'all are
Like
so
how-
sweet.
yeah.
Thank you.
I told you she was so bubbly.
Yes.
Last weekend I was at that retreat and I get these videos of my husband and he decided to like stream lights in the backyard, put the TV in the middle of this backyard with the owls and give them their favorite snacks. I'm like,
That's
you
so
are
cute.
so fun.
That's
like,
awesome.
Dads are so fun, you know?
Yeah.
They're awesome.
They definitely get that hat that they get to wear, and
I know. I'm like, hey, go you.
Even like on our funnest days, mom's never as fun as dad.
I'm just not that
No.
creative.
No.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm a little
no, I
bit
guess
more
not.
bored. I'm like,
Yeah.
here's your favorite snack. Like, this is so fun. He's
Yeah, we'll
like,
just play it in the
movie
living
night
room.
in the backyard, you know?
and I'm like, nobody does that. Like,
Aw.
I don't really have.
Yeah.
We're going camping this weekend. Pray for us, y'all.
Oh, I took
This
the
might
kids
be
camping for
crazy.
Memorial Day weekend, and like, It was our first time.
In tents or like in a camper or like
in our backyard.
We did
in your backyard.
Perfect.
That's
Maybe
okay.
on the trampoline. We did that last year on the trampoline. One kid wet the bed, the other person threw up, and I was
good.
like, y'all.
You're like, this is an adventure.
Yeah, this is an adventure, but they said it was like the best thing ever. So I'm glad they remember that when I remembered at 3 a.m, kids throwing up. So,
Great.
Yeah.
making memories.
Their memories are always a lot different than our memories of the same exact event.
Yeah.
I
Like
agree.
Jackson's memories of stuff, I'll be like, oh, it was so great. And I was like, that
And
was
we're
the
like,
worst time of
wait,
my
you
life.
had diarrhea and threw up at the same time. So I don't know why.
It was coming out of both ends.
Yes,
Like,
kids
yeah.
remember the good stuff, and I'm so glad, so glad.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it and sharing your story. All right, guys, I think that's all we have time for today. If you have not subscribed to us, you can do so by searching the Purple Podcast app on your iPhone, search Coffee Convos, click subscribe, click the 5th star, and leave us a written review. We hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.